All right, so what I've told you so far is that tendons connect muscles to bones and they act as a variable mechanical tissue. That means at the muscle end, they're stretchy, at the bone end, they're stiff. The primary protein in tendon is collagen, and the collagen is the backbone and it provides the mechanical strength of the tissue. The stiffness and the strength of the tendon is also going to be modulated or changed by how much cross-linking there is. And our bodies cross-link using lysyl oxidase, which is an enzyme that adds little cross-links and it makes the tissue stiffer. But if we have diabetes or if as we get older, we don't control our blood sugar well, we're also going to get these other types of cross-links called advanced glycation end products, which are just sugars that can cause a linkage in the collagen molecules. And that's one of the reasons we get stiffer with age, or that if you're diabetic, you have an increase in stiffness within the tissues within your body. All right. I told you that the water within a tendon makes it viscoelastic, which means it gets stiffer as you load it faster. And I didn't really make this overly clear, but the most important thing and the reason that we look at this is because if a tendon becomes stiffer than a muscle is strong, when we stretch that muscle and tendon together, the muscle is actually going to stretch more instead of the tendon stretching. Because if the muscle isn't very strong and the tendon is really stiff, we're going to pull on that. And instead of the tendon stretching to absorb the energy of impact, now what's going to happen is the muscle is going to have to stretch. And this is incredibly common in men's 200 and 400 meter races at the Olympic championships and world championships, where people rupture hamstrings because they've been working to increase their strength, to increase, I should say, their speed, not their strength, but to increase their speed. And the way they've been doing that is by low weight, very fast movements. And those low weight, very fast movements have increased the stiffness of the tendon, as I'll show you in a second. And as a result, they have gotten a tendon that's stiffer than the muscle is strong. And now, instead of the tendon stretching and absorbing the energy for the muscle and protecting the muscle, now the muscle is forced to stretch. And when that happens, that's when we get serious muscle pulls or muscle ruptures. All right? Okay, so I told you that if you want a tendon to get stiffer, the best way to train is to do fast movements. And one type of fast movement is just called plyometric training. You can also do maximum power training. All of these types of training do the same thing. And what they do is they increase the stiffness of the joints. And they increase, and these are two different experiments where Kubo had tested power plyometric training, where you basically jump down off a surface and then accelerate in the other direction. So that's plyometric, as you're moving in two directions. So you're very quickly changing direction. And that change of direction is what we call jerk. Because we have one force going this way, one force going this way. And when they come together, you get this instantaneous, very high load that's passed into the tendons. Again, because it's coming really fast, we don't have the time for the collagen molecules to slide. We don't have the time to break crosslinks. And as a result, it works as a sheet. We don't break any crosslinks. And we use other enzymes because we've had this really fast movements. These other enzymes are produced that enzyme lysyl oxidase, which is going to make new crosslinks because the body is responding. If you're doing these very fast movements, what you're going to do is your body's going to respond by strengthening that tissue so that if you do another set of very fast movements, the tissue is going to be stiffer. And what they do, increase stiffness, and that's going to, increase crosslinks, that's going to increase the stiffness. And whether it's the Kubo paper here on the left or the Fure paper on the right, anytime you do plyometric training, you're going to increase the stiffness of the structures. And specifically, this is making that muscle end of the tendon stiffer. And if you're not keeping your muscles strong enough, as that muscle end of the tendon gets stiffer than the muscle is strong, that's when you're going to get muscle pulls. Okay? And so the way that we decrease muscle pulls is we lift heavy weights, or we do heavy strength training, and we do heavy strength training. In this case, lengthening training, because that's when we can get a really heavy weight. And we do slow lengthening training where we're slowly lowering the weight. Very heavy weights, very slow movements. And that's now going to get that slow movement. So we're going to get that sliding because the tendon molecules, the collagen molecules, are going to work like individual molecules. They're going to start to slide past each other, and as they do that, we're going to break crosslinks. And even if we make new ones, we're not going to make as many as we're going to break using that really heavy weight and moving it slowly. All right? So the core of what we're thinking about when we're talking about training to improve the health of the tissue, we're going to lift heavy weights because that makes the muscle stronger and the tendon less stiff. And remember, we're going to get muscle pulls when the tendon is stiffer than the muscle is strong. So we lift a heavy weight, we're going to move it slowly. So that means the tendon is going to look good and our muscle is going to get stronger. So now our muscle is much stronger than the tendon is stiff. Now we're not going to get a muscle pull. Okay? So the different types of activities and stiffness, if we want to increase stiffness, that's to increase performance. We're going to do plyometric exercises like skipping, jumping, bounding, sprinting, jumping exercises like box jumps and hurdle jumps and foot tongues. All of these things where we're trying to move in the other direction really fast. We're trying to move as fast as we physically can. That is what we're doing to increase stiffness. And what you can see is that in order to move fast, we have to move at a very low weight. So our muscle isn't getting a stimulus to get big and strong, because to get strong, we need to lift a heavy weight. We're not getting a stronger muscle. What we're getting stiffer connective tissue and not as much of an effect on the muscle. And so that's where the muscle can get less strong than the tendon is stiff. All right. And if we want to decrease stiffness in the muscle end of the tendon, what we're going to do is we're going to do heavy weightlifting. And that can either be slow lengthening contractions or it can be heavy isometric contractions. And those heavy isometric contractions and slow lengthening contractions, that's going to allow that sliding of the collagen molecules, breaking crosslinks at the muscle end of the tendon. The muscle end of the tendon will be more stretchy, and that's going to keep the muscle end of the tendon stretchy. And because we're lifting a heavy weight, that's going to keep our muscle strong. So now we've got a stretchy tendon and a strong muscle, and that's perfect for health. You're not going to get a muscle pull if you've got a strong muscle and a nice stretchy tendon.